The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Hello, everybody, and this is Bucket Full of Chicken X. It's Vince Russo from Germany. I got to tell you, I can't believe freaking technology. I'm here by myself, have not spoken to the Realm Network, have not spoken to Joe Lowe, brought my microphone with me from the United States, plugged the microphone into my computer, went to Google Hangout, and I think I'm recording. I basically think I was able to figure this whole thing out by myself, which that in itself is unbelievable. That I can, first of all, that I can get on a plane and go to Germany where, like, I'm so far away from home right now, like that I can't even think about it because I'd freak myself out. But the fact that my entire career, WWE, WCW, TNA, the whole shebang, I would never leave the country. I was always, I didn't want to be away from home. I didn't like to be that far away from home. It freaked me out a little bit. Listen, man, I'm a hermit. I like to stay in my close surroundings. If you know me, you know that. So I always got out of trips. I never went on a trip with a major company. But as you know, an opportunity arose for me in January to go to the UK and then one day here in Germany. So I went, never expecting that they're going to want me to go back a second time, but they wanted me to go back a second time. And, you know, I got to tell you, leading up to coming here, that's the worst part for me because, you know, my mind starts playing tricks with me, you know, the long plane rides, and it's going to be forever to get there. And, you know, I don't like flying to begin with because when you're in the air, and all of a sudden, you basically start thinking about I'm in a steel tube, 30,000 feet, you know, above the ground. You know, you start freaking out a little. So it's not a big. Yeah, I don't enjoy flying. People enjoy flying. They like sitting back on a plane and, you know, tossing down a couple. First of all, I don't drink, so I don't enjoy flying. So, you know, it's the thought of getting here where I almost get to the point of talking myself out of it. But then I'm like, no, man, listen, I'm a strong believer in pushing yourself, get out of your comfort zone. I say it all the time. So I got on the plane. I came over here to Germany. The journey in itself, it was about maybe 3 hours from Colorado to Atlanta. I had almost a 4-hour stay in Atlanta. So that right there is 7 hours. It was another 10 hours over here. So you're looking at about 17 hours just in getting to Dusseldorf. But I finally made it here. Oh, my gosh. I swear I've lost track of days. I think I left on Thursday. I left the United States Thursday morning. By the time I got here, it was Friday morning. So I got here Friday morning, had a nice little meet and greet, you know, with some fans and people from the WXW office here in Germany. We did that Friday night. We had shows on Saturday and Sunday. And let me talk to you about these shows. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about the trip. Listen, I went through the news. I went to see if there's anything I need to talk about. And I have to be honest with you, man. I go on the web wrestling websites and I look at the headlines. And like every day, it's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, are you joking me that people get up in the morning and like literally like write about nothing? You know, put the effort into writing about nothing. I go through the headlines and they're saying nothing. There's nothing going on. And the worst thing in the world is you try to make something out of nothing. You know, it's you're trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. But nobody cares. The stuff they're freaking reporting on, nobody cares. If you're reading this stuff and you actually care about the trivial stuff they're talking about, I don't even know what to tell you. So literally, you know, I went through the headlines in 30 seconds and nothing jumped out. And I'm not wasting my time, you know, talking about, you know, who Ric Flair is going to have on his podcast and, what who thought what about the Pacquiao fight? Who freaking cares? I could care less about that crap. Give me a freaking break. So anyway, I'm over here in Germany. I'm going to tell you about my trip, and I'm going to, there's a lot of things I want to talk about. when I'm here in Germany and when I'm working, WXW, which is a fairly big independent promotion here in Germany, if not the biggest. I got to be honest, I sit there and the first thing that runs through my mind, like there was a show Saturday night, and they had a nice crowd for the show. And I mean, it was set up. I mean, huge stage, nice crowd. It was sold out. I mean, it was really a great atmosphere for wrestling. But then, yesterday I go to Mannheim, and it's a much smaller show. There's probably 150 people. And I got to tell you, when I walked into the building at around noon, it more or less it looked like a dump. And I'm like, they're going to put on a wrestling show in this place. But I have to tell you something. The crew at WXW, by the time they set this little club up, it was freaking amazing. I mean, I'm telling you, they somehow, some way, the skeleton crew that they have of 10 people, whatever it is, they set up this entire club. They had a fan fest, and there was a meet and greet, and they had their merch, and they had their ring, and they had their stage, and all of a sudden, this place that I thought was a dump, it suddenly looked like a wrestling arena, which was amazing to me. But, my point is, it was a much smaller venue yesterday. It was a sold show. What that means for those that don't understand is, WXW puts together a show, and then they sell that show to a local promoter. So it's up to the local promoter to get out and promote the show and bring the people to the venue. So this was a sold show. And I have to be honest with you, there comes a point when I'm sitting there and I'm looking around all 150 seats. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking of, WrestleMania days, and the WrestleManias that Ed and myself worked. And then I'm thinking about, WCW, wrestling Ric Flair in a steel cage in the Phillips Arena, in Atlanta with God knows how many thousands of people. These things start running through your mind. And then, of course, as a human being, you're going to look at, my God, any human being, this is what you're going to look at. And I'm telling you, I pull no punches. Any human being is going to sit there. I'm 54 years old, and you're going to look at, oh my God, how the mighty have fallen. That's what you're going to think. And that's the first instinct that runs through my mind. 20 years ago, I'm at WrestleMania. I'm at WrestleMania 10 in the Garden, and then 11 and whatever. And, thousands and thousands of people, raw audiences of 5-6 million people. And here I am in Mannheim yesterday with 150 people. So that's the first instinct. But then, in my mind, I start kind of going through my career, and I'm sitting there now and I'm reflecting in an empty arena in the middle of Mannheim. And I start thinking about, the roots of me getting into professional wrestling. And I start thinking about why I got into the wrestling business. And I go back all the way to Vicious Vincent's World of Wrestling, 1991. So what, 25 years ago going on, I guess. And I start thinking about a little studio in Long Island, West Babylon, Long Island, WGBB, where myself and Vito LaGrasso and my friend, the Mat Rat, Jimmy Monsees, every Sunday night, we would go into this little studio, WGBB in West Babylon, and have the time of our lives. We were all gimmicks. Vito Skull Von Crush used to just crack me up on air. At that time, I had no idea of what was ahead of me. I just realized, honestly, at that time, I had a little baby. My businesses were closing up. My video businesses, Blockbuster, were putting me out of business. And all I cared about was I have to make a living. I was always a fan of this wrestling genre because, as you know, I love the entertainment aspect of it. And if I can parlay this into a career, or not even a career, I'm not even thinking about a career at that point. I'm thinking about making money. I got to pay bills. I got to pay for my baby. Will was just a baby then. And I'm thinking if I could parlay this into a payday and I could pay my bills, it would be great, not knowing the road ahead. And it was 3 innocent kids, just having fun, having the time of our lives, talking about wrestling, and it was fun. Obviously, I'm not going to rehash the whole story, but fast forward, WWE, the Attitude Era, WCW going out of business, David Arquette, TNA, Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, Jeff Jarrett, Dixie Carter, on and on and on. And I'm thinking about all this, and I'm thinking about, going to the WWE. And at a certain period of time, probably, I went there about 94. I'd say, after a couple of years, of course, going there and being at the WWE and being editor of the magazine. And I went to school for journalism, and it was always my dream to be writing. Now I'm writing for the WWE magazine. I'm running the magazine. Nobody's telling me what to do or anything. It's a dream job, unbelievable first couple of years. Then getting into the television end of it, which was never a plan for me. Never had ambitions to be a booker or a television writer. It just happened. But, the excitement of that, especially, WWE being in a really bad place, WCW kicking the company's backside, and having that opportunity to being a room side by side with Vince McMahon and, the creation and Ed Ferrara and starting the Attitude Era, that was a period of excitement. Okay. But I'd say probably sometime around 1998, the excitement stopped. And quite honestly, the fun stopped, because the more successful I got, the more and more pressures, that were not only put on me, but I put on myself. It was a combination at the two. At that point, probably about 98, it turns into a job, and it turns into, being at a Saturday matinee, with my young kids, Will and VJ, and watching Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, and there's the phone, Vince McMahon. You couldn't shut your phone off in a movie theater. You couldn't shut your phone off if you were on the freaking turlet. When you worked for Vince, the phone's on 24/7. You're at his beck and call, and he calls and you jump. And I remember so many times matinees with my kids and Vince calling on a Saturday, a little league game, a T-ball game where I was the coach, and Vince calling on the phone. And it was, the show, WWE, him. And, after a while, man, when you got 2 little boys and now a little girl, Annie was born around that time. It just was like, this is not what I signed up for. And I remember many times, in the late 90s, me basically saying to my wife, I want my life back. I want my life back. This is not any fun anymore. And part of the reason for the WCW, and part of the reason for a 2-year contract when they wanted me to sign a 3-year contract, was because I said, you know what, I'm going to give in 2 years, 2 years and done, 2 years and done, and I'm going to be out of this business. That was the game plan, because it wasn't fun for me anymore at that point. I was done with wrestling before I went to WCW. And all I was looking to do at WCW was hold on for 2 more years to put money in the bank, quite frankly. So I go to WCW. We know that story. The money in the bank was all lost in the stock market. Everybody lost their money, including me. So, I was kind of right back from peg one. That parlayed into TNA. I'm telling you, as I'm sitting here, there were a lot of good people at TNA, a lot of friends at TNA, going to TNA, working with, Irish Pat Kenny, working with Al Snow, working with Terry Taylor, working with Bubba, working with Taz. When working with my friends was fun, that part of it was fun. But the minute I had to go to work, with be around Dixie, and there was the forever just animosity between Dixie and Jeff. And then that parlayed directly into Jeff gone, Hogan and Bishop. It was never fun. And you know what? The money was there and I made good money, but I was absolutely miserable. So, obviously, here I am outside of the wrestling business. I think I stopped consulting for WWE in July. So, I mean, we're looking at almost a year. I've been on the outside looking in. And as you know, Pyro and Ballyhoo, things happen there. Here I am on the Realm Network. Here I am talking to you from Germany with Bucket Full of Chicken Necks, which brings me back to that empty arena in Mannheim yesterday. So I'm sitting there and I'm like saying to myself, looking back, I should be sitting here absolutely miserable. Look at me. It's almost like the story of the wrestler. You guys saw the story of the wrestler. The guy, the Ram, was on top of the world. Next thing you know, he's slicing deli meat behind a deli counter, and yeah, okay, that's my story. That's what it looks like on the surface, But then here's what happens. I'm sitting in the empty arena and all these thoughts are going through my mind. And then, the guys, these young wrestlers that do it for the love of it. Are they ever going to make it to the WWE? Probably not. Just the fact that they're in Germany and to export the wrestlers from Germany to the United States is probably a plane ticket and an expense the WWE doesn't need. That alone, regardless of how good they are, is probably going to ever keep them from fulfilling their dreams of the WWE. But you watch these guys, and then they come up to you and they start, picking your brain, and they start talking to you, and they sit down next to you, and you realize just how much, they respect you and how much they want to hear, what you have to say about this business that they love. It's like every word is almost a nugget to them because they love what they're doing. And here's the thing, man, it's so sincere and it's so raw. And people aren't approaching me for political reasons, and they're not worried about asking me the right question or asking me the wrong question. There's no ulterior motives. They are there because they love what they're doing. And everybody, in the organization loves what they're doing. And they're all pulling for the same company in order to make it a success so they can continue to love what they're doing. So that emotion of love and why they're there, and trying to fulfill a dream, it brings me back to 20 years ago. It brings me back to WGBB. It brought me back to a time when it was fun for me. And when I got into the business for all the right reasons, and then, once you're in it, the world that you've now become a part of was something you never thought, you never imagined, you never existed. So we go from a dream to it being a job, to it being a job you absolutely hate. And, the more I was around these guys, and the more I was around the atmosphere, and the more I became a part of the process with them, suggesting ideas, helping people with characters, and the more I saw how much they appreciated it, it made me feel this isn't a step backwards, Vince. This is all the reasons you got into this in the first place. For the love of it and being around people who love it, not the negativity and the politics and the backstabbing, yada, 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 that the wrestling business is. So, when I look back on the 20 years and I look at coming around full circle, I came back to the place that I originally wanted to be. And, you know, again, it's you live and you become older and you learn, and you're a certain way in your 20s and you're a certain way in your 30s. And, you know, 40s family starts meaning a little bit more. In 50s, you know, your time starts meaning a little bit more, and how you're spending your time and are you doing something you enjoy means a lot more. And it's a journey that all of us go to. So, you know, when I look at that full circle, you know, of WGBB all the way to Mannheim, Germany, that's what I got into it for. And I had fun yesterday, and I got to tell you, it was the trip from hell. I'm not kidding you. We used to do this all the time at the WWE. I was in my 30s. I'm in my 50s now. It was the trip from hell. We had to go from Oberhausen to Mannheim, which is a 3-hour drive. Now, keep in mind, we're coming off a full day on Saturday, you know, full day there. I think I got to the building at around 10-ish, 11-ish, and it was a fan festival and it was a show. So I had, you know, meet and greets and autograph signings and, you know, a Q&A, and then the show. And then I appeared on the show, and then the show was over 3 hours long. The show didn't end till 11:30. Back to the hotel room. We had to be on the road. You know, I got on the road. Everybody else left at 6:30. I got a little bit of a break, didn't have to leave till 8. But 3 hours to Mannheim. You know, you get there at 12. The show, you know, before the show, you know, meet and greet, the whole thing. 5 o'clock, the show starts. You know, show is over at about 8. You know, then 3 hours back to Mannheim. You know, so by the time I got in my hotel room, it was midnight, and I was absolutely exhausted. But it, you know, again, bringing me back to what it used to be and what it was all about. But you know, here's another thing, bro. Listen, I got to be honest with you. This kid, you know, the 24-year-old kid, nicest guy in the world, a strapping big guy. You know, he's driven me around a lot here. He's one of the boys. He's one of the wrestlers. His name is Mike Schwartz. And I told him I'm gonna butcher the name because in New York it's Schwartz. A lot of Jews in New York, they call it Schwartz. So I want to call him Mike Schwartz, but I know it's Schwartz because it's the whole German thing. And I said, bro, I'm going to butcher the name. I want you to know, don't get offended, because to me it's Mike Schwartz, even though you're Schwartz. But anyway, you know, Mike's driving us home last night, 3-hour ride home. And, you know, like I said, the show ended at about 8 o'clock or so. And bro, we're on this Autobahn. There's no speed limit on this Autobahn, bro. And it's raining outside. And Mike Schwartz, 24-year-old, good-looking, strapping wrestler, he's going 100 miles an hour on the Autobahn. And I'm in the back seat, and literally I have my hoodie pulled over my head because it's raining outside. Mike's going 100 miles an hour on the Autobahn because there's no speed limit. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to die on the Autobahn. I'm just here it is. Here's the end. I'm going to die on the Autobahn. It's not going to be the heart attack that I thought. It's not going to be the brain tumor that I've suffered many brain tumors in my life because I'm a hypochondriac. It's not going to be any of that. I'm going to die on the Autobahn. So, but Mike got us home safe and sound, but I was scared out of my freaking wits. But you know, so again, but the team atmosphere, the team effort, everybody wanting to put on for it. Listen, I'll tell you this, guys. First time in my life, okay, in 25 years in the wrestling, I don't know, I lost track. First time in my life, I helped them break down the ring. I broke down the ring with these guys. I carried the ring post to the truck, the wood to the truck, the steel beams. I became a part of the ring crew, and they're looking at me like, Vince, are you crazy? And I'm like, what? Am I going to sit around and watch you take the ring down? Who am I? I helped them break down the ring. Never did that before in my life. And it was great. It felt great. I wanted to do it. I was happy to do it. The shows were a whole other different experience for me. Listen, I had not taken a bump in a wrestling ring probably since the beginning of TNA and SEX, which if I had a guess, I'd say was, I don't know, 2002. So, maybe it's been, at 12 years, I've never taken a bump in a wrestling ring. Now, you got to understand something. I'm here working for these promoters. I'm thankful that they brought me over here. My job is to have them, utilize me to the best of my ability to help get them over and help get their guys over and give them a little something, because, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to go home, and they've got to continue to build this organization. So at the end of the day, what I'm getting at is I'm 54 years old, but I'm going to do whatever it is they want me to do. I want to help them. I'm not a prima donna. They're paying me. I'm coming to work for them. I want to help them. So in the back of my mind, I know, okay, these guys are going to want me to take bumps. And I got to tell you, I'm 54. I'm out of shape. My back sucks. So like all these things are running through my mind, but I know I got to do it. I got to help these guys. I've got to help them get their young guys over so they could build this territory over here. They're going to want me to take bumps. I got to take the bump. So the first night, I'm involved in this match. Some good storytelling. These guys wrote some good TV. I gave a little bit of input, but they did a really great job. They know what they're doing. It's not Mickey Mouse. There's 4 guys, involved, and they really wrote a nice story for me. And, I played it out. But at the end of this story, this big guy, they call him Big Daddy Walter. This dude, I'm not kidding you, man. He's got to be about 6'6". And I mean, bro, you remember Rocky, when he goes to the warehouse and he's pounding the meat. That's how wide this guy is. And I'm not talking fat. I'm talking wide and thick. I mean, thick. And he's about 6'6", freaking thick. You know how I go on my tangents all the time? A wrestler needs to look like a wrestler. This guy looks like a freaking wrestler. So I got to take a bump now from Big Daddy Walter. So I said, what do you want to do, bro? I asked Big Daddy what he wanted to do. And basically what he said was, I was going to raise his hand in victory. He was going to pull me in for the clothesline. So listen, of course, he's the kid. I'm the guy that's been in the business for 25 years. So of course I have to say, Walter, no problem, whatever you want to do. That's what I got to say. So that's what I say, Walter, no problem. That's what you want to do. So I walk away from the locker room and I'm like, this guy is going to kill me. He's going to take my freaking head off. My head's going to hit the mat. I'm going to get a concussion. I'm not going to be able to breathe. He may crack my sternum with the clothes. All this running through my head. And I got to tell you, I hadn't taken a bump in a dozen years. And you know what's running through my head? What's running through my head is I'm thinking of Dixie. And I'm thinking of when they put her in the position of putting her through a freaking table, of how scared to death she must have been. And she went ahead and did it. And she went ahead and broke her back for no reason. If somebody can please explain to me right now, to this day, what that got her and what that got Tina. It didn't get him a Spike contract, which I thought it would get him. I don't necessarily think it got her the respect of the boys, because, the boys still have their Dixie story. So I don't know what came out of the broken back, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. Oh my, can you imagine how she felt? Because here I am, 54 years old, a guy, 225, 30 pounds, 6'2", and I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt from a clothesline. So anyway, I said my prayer to God, please, bro, get me through this, whatever you got to do, because I got to do this for Big Walter. I want Walter to shine. I want Dub X Dub, that's what they call, like he said. I want them to do well. I want them to get their money's worth from Vince Russo. So we go in the ring. Listen, I got to tell you something. So I'm aligned with this heel they have. He's the champion. This heel's name is Karsten Beck. Okay, go look him up on YouTube. I'm telling you guys, he's a 28-year-old kid. He would be one of the top 3 heels in the United States right now. He has more heat than anybody on the WWE roster, anybody on the TNA roster. This guy would be over huge in the States. As I said, TNA would never hire him because it's a plane ticket. We can't afford plane tickets when we can't afford to pay our staff. And the WWE, you know, they've got their developmental center and the Finn Balor's that are going to take over the world. This guy is a tremendous heel. So, you know, I was with Kirsten, but whatever. You know, I get to the point where Big Daddy lifts my hand and like, I don't know what to expect. You know, so, you know, when we went over the spot, he said, just make sure you come to me. He goes, because, you know, it's really just going to be a chest bump. So, you know, he pulls me in. I made sure I go to him. He clotheslined me. Boom. I go down. I made sure this isn't going to be Ric Flair and me bouncing my head off the mat at 54. Made sure I didn't hit my head, but I'm not exaggerating. When I went down, he knocked the wind out of me. I mean, I could feel the wind knocked out of me, but I was relieved because I was okay. I survived the bump after 12 years, and I was fine. I was okay. But he winded me. I mean, I'm telling you, the guy knocked the wind out of me. It was very, you know, I mean, I felt it that night. I was sore that night. I'm not going to lie to you, but we got through the bump. So now we got a second show. And now I know, okay, there's going to be a second bump. And I don't know what it is. I don't ask these guys beforehand. I go to the building like anybody else. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Let me go back, though, now before we get to the building. Let me tell you about the car ride, okay? Driving the car is Karsten Beck. You know, my boy, 28 years old. The guy's phenomenal. Cuts a phenomenal promo. So much passion in his promo. Unbelievable. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that never heard of Karsten Beck, for crying out loud. Yeah, listen, I like Rusev. He's better than Rusev because he can cut a promo. So Karsten's driving. Here's the car ride. Cowboy James Storm in the front seat. Guess who's next to me in the back seat? Me sitting together. Together is one. Hadn't seen him in I'd say probably a good number of years. 8, maybe, I don't know. Hadn't seen him. Sitting next to me in the back seat is Sean Waltman, X-Pac. Now, I found out the last day before I left that Sean was going to be on the tour. Now, I also knew from things I read, which of course you got to take everything with a grain of salt, that Sean wasn't really happy with my interview with China because the way China, painted a picture of Triple H, who's his friend. So I heard that Sean wasn't too happy with that. But I also I know Sean Waltman, and I knew Sean, you know, at WWE working with DX. And Sean's always been a great guy. Listen, the guy has had his demons, but I can tell you this about Sean Waltman. He's always had a heart of gold. He's always been good to me. He's always respected me. I've respected him. So we always had a good relationship. So I wasn't too worried about it because I knew once Sean saw me and I saw Sean, everything was going to be okay. But I'll be honest with you, wasn't planning on a 3-hour car ride, you know, sitting next to Sean Waltman where everything was going to be discussed between us. But I'm riding next to Sean. Storm's in the front. I'm going to talk about Storm in a minute, but I'm sitting back, you know, in the back with Sean, and you know, Sean and I are talking about everything. I mean, with two guys, nothing's being held back. Issues in working with the past, you know, the WWE, the China situation, his relationship with China, where she is now, the interview, two gentlemen, two friends, just talking, no heat whatsoever. And it was one of those conversations that, you know, you sit back and you say to yourself, you know what, I'm lucky to have people like this, you know, that I've crossed paths with in my life. Because at the end of the day, like, I care about Sean Waltman. I really do. And I always tell everybody, bro, the heart, the heart is the soul, and it's all about somebody's heart. Everybody can be a screw up or a F up or, a drug addict or alcoholic. Everybody can have their bag of baggage. But at the end of the day, it's the heart, and it's who they are, and they're just struggling like everybody else does. That's all it is. And everybody knows Sean Waltman has had a tough life, and it all goes back to the childhood. I found out a little bit about that. I didn't know about, Sean's upbringing, parents, how he grew up. I didn't know about any of that. I learned that for the first time. And, we are all products of our environment. I say that all the time. So until you can sit down with somebody and talk to them and understand, you have no idea. So it was a great, great, great conversation with Sean. I'm so glad it happened. I'm so glad he was here. And I got to tell you, I'm going to say this. Listen, when Sean Waltman shows up at a building and, with what he's gone through over the years, you look at him and you say, the first thing you say is this guy going to be able to get through his match? But then you sit back and you observe, and you see Sean with the young guys that he's working with, and you see Sean laying out the match. And you see Sean making sure that the kids shine. I listened to him. His intent is to not put myself over. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what they expect Sean Waltman to do, but that's not why I'm here. And he lays out the match, and he gets the kids over, and he gives the audience what they want. And I'm telling you, bro, when he goes out to the ring, maybe it's not 1994 all over again, but the guy freaking delivers. He gives the people what they want. They leave the arena happy. That to me is an ultimate pro. And there he is when the match is over, in the back, shaking everybody's hand, thanking everybody, people that, literally are 20 years his junior. And that's Sean Waltman, though. That's not anything I've never seen before. I mean, and again, I tell you all the time, it's the freaking heart. It's the heart. It's who that person really is. So, that was really, really tremendous. So now, that day I go to the building and I find out, that I'm going to take the bump from Storm. Storm's going to give me the super kick. Okay. Now, James Storm is always one of those guys that I really liked and I really admired. I'm not going to sit here and say, we were like this, at TNA, because that wasn't the situation. But we always respected each other. We always talked, but we weren't super tight. You know what I mean? But I always knew he was a professional. I always knew he was phenomenal. But here at this time, we're getting to spend more time together than we ever did maybe in 10 years at TNA. And I'm talking to Storm about his family, and we're talking a little bit about TNA, and I mean, I always knew James was a great guy, but here's what I didn't realize. James, he's made himself, a superstar. I watched James for 2 days over here in Oberhausen and Mannheim. He completely took over the freaking crowd. He took over the crowd. He took over the arena. They had a meeting out of the palm of his hand, and I'm sitting back saying, "Oh, where the frig did this come from?" James Storm looked, absolutely amazing, and I mean, he had the people with him. He was entertaining. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I'm saying to myself, okay, I watch TNA. And this isn't the James Storm I see. So, again, that tells me, well, James Storm goes to work at TNA and does what they tell him to do. And they're not using him to his fullest potential, because I saw his fullest potential and he was over huge. So we get to the spot with the super kick, and I said, James, okay, tell me what to do. And again, I'm not going to show James, okay, is he going to kick me in the jaw? Is he going to break my jaw? Am I going to get my jaw wired? I'm not going to show any of that. So I said, James, what do I got to do? James said, Vince, turn your head this way. I'm going to hit you right here, and you're not even going to feel it. I said, okay, James, no problem. So now James and I had to have a big promo, and the show was running a little light. What that means is, some people went short, so they had to make up time. So basically, they wanted me and Storm to go to the ring and elongate or promo. Now, I had never worked with James in a ring before, and I was really looking forward to this promo because I knew how good James was, and I knew no matter what I gave him, he'd give back. And it was great. It was a phenomenal promo. It went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So finally, we get to the point. Here comes a super kick. I turn my head like this. Boom. Here comes the kick. Boom. I go down. I sell it. Now, here's what Storm does. Let me explain something to you. I hate traveling so much. And like a part of traveling I hate is the packing. Because first of all, I don't like checking bags. Like when I get to the airport, I want to go to where I got to go. I don't want to go to the carousel gimmick. I don't want to wait for freaking bags. It goes round and round and round. You're waiting there forever for your bag. When I get to my destination, I want to go. Either I want to go to a hotel, or either when I'm landing in Denver, I want to go freaking home. So, like, I don't pack anything with me. I pack very light. I told you I don't wear drawers. So I eliminate the underwear because I don't wear the drawers. I bring a couple of pairs of socks. You can wear the same socks 2 days in a row, and a little freaking spray, little odor eater down there, and ain't gonna bother nobody. So I pack very light. So I know I'm going on this trip from like May 1st to May 11th, whatever it is, like 11 days. I don't even know what it is. So like. I bring 3 dress shirts with me because when I go out there on the show, I got to wear the button-down shirt, right? So I bring 3 shirts with me and I'm doing the math in my mind. Well, I'll wear this shirt even if I sweat a little bit. I'll do the deodorant gimmick under the arm of the shirt. Nobody's going to know. I'll douse the shirt in freaking cologne, whatever I got to do. So I'm thinking I can get at least 2 days, 3 days usage out of each one of these shirts. So I do the thing with Storm. He gives me the super kick. Bang. I go down. I'm selling for Storm, selling Storm. Next thing I know, I'm hearing about your damn luck and all that. Okay, no problem. So now I'm on the ground selling. And the next thing I know, bro, is I'm taking a beer shower. The guy, he's pouring beer all over me. It's almost like it's coming out of a tap because it's not stopping, and he's soaking me wet with the beer. And like he's getting the beer on the hair and everything, and I don't care, but I know he's getting beer on the shirt. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, I have to wear this shirt again, Storm. Why he douses me with beer. So now I go in the back and I'm like, bro, I'm here for 11 days. You're going home today. I said, I need my clothes. Why are you pouring a beer all over me? So Storm has a good laugh, right? So here's the thing, bro. So now I go to the bathroom. I'm trying to fix myself up and everything. I got beer all over me. I got to take the shirt off. Next thing I know, bro, remember what, let me backtrack. Remember the part about turn your head here and I'm going to tap you here. Remember that part? Well, now I go and I'm looking in the mirror. Bro, I got this freaking welt the size of Rhode Island on my chest across here. It looked like, I'll never forget it, bro. When freaking Flair used to chop me, I had welts on my chest for days. That was okay because I was 34 years old. I'm 54 years old now. So now the part about the this and the this, I got a freaking welt around here the size of Rhode Island. So now I go back to James. I'm like, what are you freaking kidding me, bro? What happened to this and this? And James admits, he claimed that wasn't him, that he didn't do that. I'm like, bro, there not too many people kicked me today. You were the only one that kicked me, Storm. He said he didn't remember doing it. But anyway, we got a good laugh. It was great. I got to say this, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I really don't. But I have to say this. You know me. Storm made the comment to me that somebody at the office when he told somebody at the office he was going to be working with me in Germany, somebody at the office told Storm to stay away from Vince Russo because he has nuclear heat with the office, meaning TNA. I thought that was just absolutely hysterical that you're telling a grown man that I've known for well over a decade to stay away from me and not talk to me because I have heat with the office. That's what I mean about the ridiculousness of freaking wrestling and people in wrestling and those that live in the bubble. You're gonna tell a grown man, don't talk to this grown man because he's got nuclear heat. I thought that was amazing. And I'm not going to mention any names, but I will say, grow freaking up, will you, for crying out loud. So anyway, we do the thing, with Storm. I said my goodbye to X-Pac. I said my goodbye to Storm because they were flying out yesterday. And I'm here for the rest of the week. I'm going to be doing a lot of work with this Dub X Dub. I'm going to be talking to some of the students about character development. I'm going to talk to them a little bit about the creative, just let them, pick my brain while I'm here, whatever I could do to help them. But that's where I am now. That's the first couple of days in Germany. And as I said, I can't, it's tough to get me over here. It really is with the travel. Listen, I got to leave Yogi. I got to leave my office. My baseball, my fantasy baseball teams, that freaks me out because I'm always on top of it. I always know what's going on. But now I'm in Germany and there are games going on at 3:00 in the morning in the United States. It screws me up. So getting here is the trick. But once I'm here, it's phenomenal. I got to give a shout out. I met one of the members of the brand yesterday. I got to shout him out. His name is Boris. As soon as I saw Boris, I knew it was him because his little face, always comes up on Twitter. He's got the black rimmed glasses and this big beard. And I saw Boris and this is what Boris said to me. He said to me, I feel like a little schoolgirl who's just met Justin Bieber. And I had a great laugh with Boris over him. This guy had such an unbelievable personality. I loved him immediately. There were a couple of other people came up to me. Yeah, Vince, we're with the brand. We're with the brand, which is great to me. I'm over here in Germany, and there are people with the brand. But I got to give a shout out to my new best friend, Boris. Absolutely phenomenal. You'll see him on Twitter all the time. What a personality. I may even bring him on as a guest on one of the shows. He's phenomenal. But he said he was a schoolgirl and I was a Justin Bieber, and I got a kick out of that. But again, here's the deal, man. I got to tell you this. Take this from a 54-year-old man that has lived life. Don't ever get away from doing what you enjoy. Don't ever let anything turn into a job that you hate. Again, I'm not going to get biblical. Don't change the channel. But I am convinced that we were not created and we were not put on this earth to be miserable. There's no doubt in my mind. We were put on this earth to live life to its fullest and to be happy. And you always need to keep that in the back of your mind. When you're at a job that's miserable or you're in a bad relationship, whatever the case may be, and you're miserable, you got to know in your mind, I don't have to be this way. I can be happy. I need to get down to what it is that I really want to be doing and I was really made to do. And, through places, like WXW, I'm able to see you can have fun in wrestling. There are people that appreciate you. There are people that respect you. There are people that want to learn from you. There are people that, make you young again. There are people that actually, make you feel good when you're around them. Those people are out there. They exist. Those are the people that you want in your life and that you want surrounding you because they're going to make you better for it. So that was it. That's this edition of a very special edition of Chicken Necks coming all the way from Germany. If I shut this thing off now, I'm going to tell you this right now, and there's no audio on this track, I am going to kill somebody. But I will say this: I tested the audio. I listened to the audio. Everything seemed to have worked. So you should be getting this Chicken X. I'm going to send it to Realm. They're going to be putting it up. Everything should be nice with this Chicken X. Tomorrow, now, we got the shoot to throw already in the can. I did a lot of work before I got here, so you don't have to worry about it. Chael Sonnen tomorrow on Shoot to Thrill. He's the UFC guy. I think he failed 3 drug tests, got banned from UFC. Now he's an analyst on ESPN. Brought me on his podcast. He's got the #1 podcast on Podcast One. The guy's incredible. Chael Sonnen will be the guest tomorrow. Who else do we have coming up? Then we have Women Who Rule. I believe the guest on Vixens is Vixens. Vixens may be today. Vixens may be today. I got to go back. The guest on Vixens is Brooke Adams, and she looks absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. The Swerve, I believe, Jason Aaron, I believe, is the guest on the Swerve this year. He's the comic book creator of, Thor, Star Wars, Punisher, Wolverine. We get in the conversation about, I tell him I don't think Thor's a superhero. I said, Jason, no offense, I don't think he's a superhero. I don't think he belongs as part of the Avengers. I think a mistake has been made here. But Jason Aaron's views on wrestling, he writes characters for comic books, and he watches wrestling. His views on characters in wrestling, unfreaking believable. So all of these interviews, very interesting. Brooke Adams, I didn't know Brooke Adams, there was a time in her life where she lived in a car with her mother and her sister in a car. We talk about that times. Chael Sonnen gets into a deep, heavy discussion about steroids. You want an education about steroids and the difference between steroids and PEDs. Oh, Chael Sonnen will tell you everything that you need to know. So there's a lot going on this week, with the brand, Realm Network. I'm going to come to you here as often as I can. I got some free time the next couple of days, I know. So every time I get a chance, I'll try to throw the mic in, come over to you all the way from Germany. But everybody, again, listen, I want to thank you for your support, as I always do. I want to thank you for being patient while I'm on this trip. But, like I said, even if I'm in Germany, even if I'm in the UK, Bulgaria, China, Nova Scotia, it don't matter to me. You're my first priority. I'm going to do everything I can to speak to you. So again, everybody, have a good day. Thanks for joining me here on Chicken X, and I will catch you all on the rebound. Take care, everybody.
The preceding presentation was brought to you by the Realm Network.